Let's pop this article up. Here we go. Let me talk you through the details about this. All right, this was just announced the other day, again, out of the acting commissioner, Brooke Rollins, the agriculture secretary. Here's what happened. They're now making it harder for retailers to basically be eligible to accept EBT. Let me explain what I mean by this. They're expanding the rules as far as stocking requirements for different retailers to have different food items in their possession, as in offerings to the public, in order to be eligible for the acceptance of food stamps. Now, I think you recognize there are thousands and thousands and thousands of retailers all across the country that accept EBT, okay? But here's the problem with this. What they're doing now is they're demanding that any retailer that accepts SNAP benefits, as in an EBT card, they must stock at least a minimum of 7 varieties of foods across 4 different food groups, including proteins, grains, dairy, and produce, including fruits and vegetables, okay? Now, previously, as Brooke Rollins stated there, the rule as it currently stands, somebody, as in a retailer could have a jar of jelly on their shelf, and that could be qualified as fruit, and they could have a bag of jerky, and that could be qualified as a protein. Well, they're basically saying no longer is that going to be the case anymore. Now, I'll explain here in just a second why this is such a big deal, but as I just said, the rule states they need to have at least 7 varieties of food options across these 4 different food groups. Let me say them again. Protein, they must have 7 options, a minimum of 7 options. Grains, they must have a minimum of 7 options. Dairy, a minimum of 7 options. And again, fruits and vegetables, a minimum of 7 options. Now, why is this such a big deal? You might be thinking, who cares? Not a big deal. Here's why this is such a big deal. 71% of different retailers that accept EBT are corner stores, as in maybe like your little store on the corner down the street that has, 5 items on their shelf or whatever. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you know my point. The little hole-in-the-wall store down the street that's convenient for you that stocks a few food items, but not all that many. Now, here's the problem with this. This store now has 2 options. Option 1, expand the number of foods and different products that they're stocking on their shelves. Highly doubtful they're going to do that. Highly doubtful they're going to do that at all. I'm just saying. And the reason for that is some of these different items that are perishable, like dairy and fruits and vegetables. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some proteins can be a little bit more shelf stable, maybe like tuna or different canned items like that, right? But when it comes down to fruits and vegetables, a lot of times these go bad in just a matter of days. Dairy, you've got to put in a cooler system, right? A refrigeration system to stock those types of items. Do you think the little store on the corner, that has very minimal business, is going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars building out their store to putting a refrigeration system? Not happening. Highly doubt they're going to do that just to be compliant for EBT card acceptance. So these retailers have 2 options. Option 1 is expand their stocking. In other words, the ability and food options that they provide to the public. So expand that. Or option 2 is say, I'm not complying, and then they lose their ability to accept EBT. Okay? Those are the options. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is something that all beneficiaries need to understand because, again, as I said just a minute or two ago, 71% of retailers across the country are small, hole-in-the-wall retailers that are probably pretty convenient for a lot of people. Problem with this is that I imagine with this, we're going to see thousands and thousands of retailers who are literally just going to say, I'm not going to spend tens of thousands of dollars building out my little hole-in-the-wall store to bring in refrigeration and all these different items into my store. Therefore, I'm going to forego the acceptance of EBT. I think we're going to see that a lot, unfortunately, and this is going to make it less convenient for the beneficiaries because now they have to comply with the new stocking requirements, again, with at least 7 food options across 4 different food categories that I mentioned earlier. Again, proteins, grains, dairies, produce, fruits and vegetables. That's what produce is, fruits and vegetables, okay? So anyway, That's that. Now, when does it go into effect? Right away today? No, it does not go into effect today. It goes into effect this fall. Now, according to this article that I shared with you, it said this fall. I would imagine that means October 1st. The reason that I say October 1st, because that's the beginning of the new fiscal year. And as you all recognize, because you've been watching the videos here forever on the channel, the SNAP program, the food stamp program, goes by the fiscal year for the federal government. And the fiscal year for the federal government goes from October 1st through September 30th. So I would imagine that this rule goes into effect October 1st. I did not see that date anywhere, to be 100% fair with you. I did not see that date, but that is my anticipation because they said the fall, and we know that the food stamp program goes by the calendar of the federal government fiscal year, October 1st through September 30th. So there you go. Apparently, USDA is going to be providing additional guidance to retailers over the coming days, weeks, and months here. I will certainly keep it posted as we get more information on this, but this program and the changes implemented to it are not over yet. And we've seen a lot of changes coming in around this program and a lot more to come as well, which, by the way, we're still anticipating at least 2 to 4 more of those waivers to be granted at some point this year to restrict additional purchases for more states on things like prepared desserts, sugary foods, carbonated beverages, pop, soda, those types of items. So stand by. I'll bring you those